What up, everybody? It's your boy Sack the King up in this motherfucker, man. Back with another video. And if you ain't been on the internet, let me bring you up to speed, man. There is a wrestler who goes by the name of Psycho Stu, if I'm not mistaken. He was involved in an incident where Rampage Jackson's son, Raja, pummeled this guy. Picked him up. I'm sure y'all have seen the video. If you haven't, go check it out. Slammed him on the ground and commenced to giving him about a good 8 to 10 punches in the face, like he just committed sexual assault against his daughter or something, man. I'm gonna make this video short, you know what I'm saying? The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's something that's deeper with this situation, okay? It goes further than just two men who, you know, had this situation. All right. Now let's rewind the situation. I know y'all gonna say, well, if you haven't already seen or heard, well, what provoked this? You know what I mean? Because that's always the question that I would ask is like, okay, I see what happened, but what provoked this? Now, before I even say anything else, I watched the video. I couldn't watch it no more than 2 times because that was uncalled for, okay? I cannot condone, me personally, just my personal opinion, that I cannot defend, okay? We'll play devil's advocate a little bit here in a second, but just me personally, I can't sit here and defend and say that that was warranted for the thing that happened prior to this situation, right? So what had happened was is this guy, Psycho Stu, who is a white male, he's pretty big, he's bigger than this other guy, smashed a can over Raja's head. All right, now some saying, oh, that's a prop can, this, that, and the other, but according to reports, that was not part of the script of anything. Now, you know wrestling is fake, bro. Like, yes, you have to be athletic. Yes, these people are taking real falls and stuff like that. But are they hitting each other like grown men in a fight? No, okay? We've all watched it. I grew up on WWF, all right? Before it was WWE. Before there was a WCW. You know what I'm saying? So I watched wrestling my whole life up until I realized that shit was fake. And that shit was scripted, which was about 1999, 1998, and I never watched that shit again. I'm gonna tell you the exact episode of wrestling that I watched where I decided that shit was not real. It was an episode of Monday Night Raw where Vince McMahon's daughter was kidnapped by Triple H and put in a trunk, and they scripted it to where he kidnapped her and all this other shit. And me, growing up in the hood my whole life, I knew that that's against the law, bro. Like, you're going to fucking prison. Even as a teenager, I knew that that was against the law. So my dad used to always tell me, hey, Chris, stop watching that shit. That shit's fake. You know what I mean? But my dad never was into sports, never watched basketball, never watched football, never watched wrestling. My dad was into NASCAR racing, which is funny because my dad is a black man, but his favorite athlete, I guess you could say, was Dale Earnhardt, the first one, the real one, number 3. But my dad is a truck driver. My dad is a mechanic. You know what I'm saying? So it makes total sense why my dad would like something to do with cars. All right. But you know, back to the story. I seen the video. If you go and watch, he hit this guy with a can. All right. You know, there was a couple words exchanged or whatever. They say that the guy apologized. There's a guy in a cowboy hat that's in that first video where the can was smashed and everything, right? He trying to act like he breaking it up or whatever. But then you flash another scene where the guy in the cowboy hat is egging Raja on backstage. Like, hey, go get your lick back, bro. Fuck all that. Go get your lick back. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna happen. If something happens, I'm gonna jump in with you. He hyping him up. All right. Raja is seen sitting down on a chair. He goes into the ring, picks this guy up as the guy's wrestling another wrestler and slams him on the ground. Boom. He's knocked out at that point, right? He's already knocked out. Then he takes his 2 fists, he straddles them and punches him, like I said, real punches as hard as he can You know what I'm saying? You can see from the thumbnail the guy is in the hospital. To the point where the guy is still in the hospital, has missing teeth. He was damn near choking on his own blood. And the internet is going crazy about it, okay? Now let's dissect this shit just a little bit more. I'm trying not to make this video too longer because my point of this video is not about the incident itself. It's about something that has to do more or less with the climate of the country right now. And I'm talking about America, okay? So that happens, all right? Now, one, this is the first thing. This is where I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. When you do something to somebody and they feel offended, right? Which in this case, Raja obviously felt offended by being embarrassed by getting a can smashed in his head and all this other shit. Oh, and the guy went on to like kind of grab him by the neck. You know what I'm saying? And he's just standing there like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And then they try to break it up. All right. So that's two things, right? When you do that to somebody, one, you cannot be in control of how that person receives whatever it is done to them, especially when it's physical, when it's something physical, right? And that's one, you can't control how they feel. And two, you cannot control their reaction to it. Now, again, I'm not saying that what Raja did was right, okay? I'm not. But if we just take a step back and look at the context of the situation, one, something had happened to this man, Raja. He got a can smashed over his head, whether it was fake or not. That shit, what is a prop can? Okay, a can is a fucking can. There was liquid in it, it came out. Then you put your hands around this guy's neck like you about to choke him or whatever. And now, mind you, this is a wrestling match. Raja is not a wrestler. Raja is a UFC fighter, okay? Let's keep that in perspective. But you cannot control how that person is going to take that, especially when there's a crowd around. And you cannot control what they do once. For every action, there's a reaction. So you got to be mindful of whatever your action is going to cause a reaction, whether it's positive or negative. If you tell somebody hello, they might tell you hello. Or they might tell you fuck off. You know what I'm saying? You can't control, you can only control what you do. You can't control what somebody else does, okay? But again, that's just a small part of it. The thing about it, what I got to question is this shit is blown up so much in the media, right? And we in the Trump era right now, where every single day the Trump MAGA clan, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I am an independent, as I've told y'all on this channel plenty of fucking times. There's shit on the right I agree with. There's shit on the left I agree with. But I do not want to sit here and put myself in a box and in a category when I don't want to be labeled either one of those motherfucking parties, all right? I'm an independent. I think for myself, which is what independent means to me. But the thing is this has been blown up so much, and you know, it's like the MAGA cult was just waiting to come out and be as racist as they can be in the situation, given the fact that this is a black man doing this to a white man, and then they bring up the fact that he's a veteran, okay? Which, as a veteran myself, that's a cop-out, okay? That is a sympathy cop-out. Anytime you mention somebody's a veteran, no matter what the situation, it's automatically going to generate some type of emotion and feelings one way or the other. So I don't feel like that should have even been in anybody's story when that didn't have anything to do with the situation. Thank you for your service, Psycho Stu, okay? I'm a veteran myself. I don't, like, that shouldn't have even been brought up, but it was. You know, white people are going to always bring up veteran shit, okay? But we living in a society now where the climate, since Trump has been in office, and this was the same way when he was in office the first time, right? Is that he enables and encourages and embodies his followers do everything bad about what America is. And it feels like, to be honest with you, I'm an 80s baby. This, besides 2016, I think it's worse now with this second Trump presidency, that I've never felt like racism was so much alive in my whole lifetime, Like, it's at its highest that it's ever been in my lifetime. Just go on the internet any given day, and you're gonna see four or five of the same comments coming out of white people, and most of them are are identifying themselves as Republican. And most of these people, if you go to their Instagram or their Facebook, they got a whole Facebook or Instagram dedicated to political posts. That's the number one sign that you're a fucking loser in life, okay? If all your Facebook and social media and Instagram is dedicated to Donald Trump or political posts, you are a fucking loser. I just want to know what these people are going to do when Donald Trump can't be the president no more. What are you going to do with your lives? What are you going to do with all this fucking memorabilia you got? What are you going to do with all this shit? Because y'all acting like this dude is God or something. And he's only able to serve these last couple years of his term, and he's gone. So y'all going to worship him the rest of y'all's lives? That is a cult, okay? Second, but if you go online, you're going to see these comments whenever it has something to do with black people. Ghetto, thug, what else? Fatigue is the new one that they love to say now. Black fatigue, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Or deport and you're illegal. Those are the 5 words, the 5 key words that a lot of these Trump supporters are spewing against Mexicans and black people daily, okay? Deport, illegal, thug, ghetto, and fatigue, all right? So this is my question. And it's been blown up. Like I said, this is an incident where a black man did this to a white man. This is my question, though. If the roles was reversed, right, and this was Psycho Stu doing this shit to Raja, would the outrage be as high as it is? Would the story get as much traction as it has? Would the headline read, veteran Psycho Stu does whatever to Raja Jackson? And that just, like, looking at this story, I wasn't even gonna comment on it because this happened like a week ago now. But every day I get on here and this seems to be the trending topic still. And I'm seeing these comments and I'm like, this just shows you where America is at. Because there's nothing but racist comments in there. Nothing but racist comments, okay? There's some comments in there for every action. There's a reaction and all this other shit, which is true. But I just wonder if the roles was reversed, would the headline be veteran Psycho Stu does this to Raja Jackson? I doubt it highly, bro. I doubt it highly. I doubt that shit would have made social media. I mean, it would have got on social media, of course, because Rampage Jackson is this guy's father. But I doubt that it would get as much attention and traction as it has had it been the roles reversed in the situation, man. And that's just the climate that we're living in under this regime administration, where people are targeted every day, where a guy got on TV and said, I'm only going to go after the criminals and the people who are doing crimes here. But yet you're going to farms, you're going to factories, and you're arresting people, and you got people hopping out, not even identifying themselves, and arresting people. And the excuse that everybody wants to make, if you're not breaking the law, why do you care? If you're here legally, woo. Hey, man, check this out. The only people that were here legally in the United States of America were Native Americans and Mexicans. Everybody else came from a different country. If we want to go back to DNA, ancestry, 23andMe type shit. So it just makes me sick, and it makes me laugh at the same time how white people's privilege over the last few hundred years has grown so much to where we are forgetting that they are a guest in America too, who brought black people over to America, who took the land of the Native Americans, who took the land of the Mexicans. Oh, they were conquered. Genocide and warring against people. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm proud to be American, and we're going to get into another video like that, but let's just call a spade a spade. You can't tell people to get out of the country and deport them when your ancestors should have been deported, okay? But anyways, let's not get too much into that. I don't think Raja Jackson is all there mentally, to be honest with you. Like, I know somebody who's not all there really quick. I've been around enough sane people to know when one is not all there. Look at his dad. If you ever thought Rampage Jackson was all there, you might not be all there, okay? He's had incidents himself. A lot of these UFC fighters are not all there, bro. A lot of fighters in general are not all there. We've seen it with boxers. We've seen it with, a lot of these people are not all there. And the same thing with football, with CTE, is the same thing that fighters go through when you're taking shots to the head. If you did a brain scan on a lot of these people, you would see that legally, they probably could be diagnosed as not all there or having tremendous CTE. You know what I'm saying? Google that and find out what it is. So, this guy's not a wrestler. He's a UFC fighter. He shouldn't even been nowhere around this. Why was he even there is the question too. And again, I'm not condoning none of his actions at all because it just was uncalled for. That was overkill. You know what I'm saying? But, it's other things that play parts into things that we just tend to overlook, especially when it comes to black people doing things against white people. But if the roles are reversed with white people doing shit to black people, the outcry is not the same. And that's my point, man. I hope that guy gets better. And, I'm not here to judge Raja or say, oh, he should be locked up for whatever. That's what the law is for. If he broke a law, then they're gonna file some charges against him, okay? But that's more or less what I wanted to talk about, is just how crazy it is. The climate of the country has it to where when black people do something, when a Mexican does something, when a minority in general does something, it's so highlighted. But when a white person does the same thing, like shoot up a fucking school today, you don't see them ghetto comments. You don't see them thug comments. You don't see no deport that illegal person comments. You don't see no fatigue comments. And that's my point. Hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know, help the channel grow. And I hope that Psycho Stu gets speedy recovery. King.